So we have a new segment in our podcast. It's called the Daily Biden Dumpster Fire. So podcast listeners, I know on a daily basis, you are probably seeing Joe Biden and you're wondering, is he all there? Should he be in an Alzheimer's unit? Is he on medication that helps his cognitive ability? I mean, these are all things we probably should know, but one thing's for sure. Every single day, or at least every single week, there's a daily Biden dumpster fire where he just says things that don't make sense. So Biden, there's a clip that we're going to play shortly of Biden that has gone viral, and it was from his CNN town hall event that just took place. And the clip of Joe Biden went viral on Wednesday of this week, and it focused on how Biden responded to a question during a CNN town hall event. Quote, let me follow up on her question and ask you, when will children under 12 be able to get vaccinated? The host of this town hall, Don Lemon, asked. So again, Don Lemon asked the question. Let me follow up on this other CNN host question and ask you, when will children under 12 have to get vaccinated? Which is a whole nother subject of why children under 12 should be get vaccinated. We have the Daily Biden dumpster fire, the Daily Biden dumpster fire response. We have that clip. You won't believe it. It makes no sense. Here it is.
That's underway, just like the other question that's illogical. And I've heard you speak about it because you always, I'm not being solicitous, but you're always straight up about what you're doing. And the question is whether or not we should be in a position where you are, why can't the experts say, we know that this virus is in fact, it's going to be, or excuse me, we know why all the drugs approved are not temporarily approved, but permanently approved. Yeah. That's underway too. I expect that to occur quickly.
Well, that means, you mean for the FDA?
For the FDA. Yeah.
So Brian, the question from Don Lemon was, when will children under 12 be able to get vaccinated? That was the question. And that was his response. I mean, it made no sense. It's a dumpster fire for sure.
And it's a dangerous dumpster fire because the rest of the world watches us and they watch the way this man speaks and he can't put a sentence together. He has that part of him too, where, you know, he's been in office for so long. He's got that thug mentality at times.
He does.
And I do know that some people say, well, he's a nice guy, but he's got a quick temper. And he's got that thug mentality that comes out like, come on, man, come on up here and I'll challenge you to push-ups or whatever. But you can tell and it's part of it's humorous and it's gotta be, but it's sad. It's sad to watch this man deteriorate in front of our eyes. And once again, the dangerous part is the rest of the world is watching and it's getting worse every day.
It really is. And podcast listeners, I know Brian can relate to this too. And so can Chris. Have you ever been in a situation where, and it could be just studying in college, or it could be a job where you were working like 12 hours straight, 13 hours straight, because you were up against a deadline. And so you're 12 hours into this and let's say you have another hour and you realize in that 12 or 13th hour, you know what? I don't know where I am. I need to like take a break because I'm just exhausted. My mind isn't functioning at all. Now, when you're president of the United States, every day is like that because you have so much responsibility. This man is pushing 80. And he already prior to running was having issues with his cognitive ability. And so we're doing this daily Biden dumpster fire segment now because it's just like it keeps coming back. And the people of the United States, just as Brian Chisholm said, need to know that the free world and the people that are our enemies like China and North Korea and Russia and others, they see this. All they see is opportunity. Because it's like, how can this guy be running the country? Which raises the question, Brian, who's running our country?
That's a great question.
Who's the commander in chief of our military? This guy clearly would not be making the decision in a moment's notice if China decided tomorrow to invade Taiwan. Who's making the decision?
And that's always been the overarching question is, do we have a shadow government? Do we have people behind the scenes? Because look, I'm a big fan of law enforcement, but now I'm asking questions about the FBI. And
yes.
Who's running them?
Who's running them?
Who's running all of our
Who's running the NSA and the FBI and the CIA? Who's really in charge? And who do they take their orders from? If from anyone, is it from a foreign government? Are they compromised? Are they compromised because of money, because they're being paid off? I'm talking about the upper echelon of these places. Couldn't agree more.
To your point, because if you look at President Biden today, he's obviously just a face that they're throwing out. He's a puppet at this point. He's not formulating his own thoughts. There's no way he's formulating. He can't get through a sentence. There's no way that he can formulate a thought on something very complex as world affairs or how a macroeconomic market works or functions. He has no clue. So who is behind him? Is it the same shadow government that's always been there kind of pulling strings?
Yeah, the Obama shadow government probably. And get this, podcast listeners, we have to play this clip again for you. So the question was asked Joe Biden on a CNN town hall by Don Lemon. What about children 12 years of age? Should they be vaccinated, or when should they be vaccinated? Here is Joe Biden's response. Here's that clip once again. Listen.
That's underway, just like the other question that's illogical. And I've heard you speak about it because I'm not being solicitous, but you're always straight up about what you're doing. And the question is whether or not we should be in a position where you are. Why can't the experts say we know that this virus is in fact it's going to be, or excuse me, we know why all the drugs approved are not temporarily approved but permanently approved. Yeah. That's underway too. I expect that to occur quickly.
Well, that means you mean for the FDA?
For the FDA.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. Don Lemon, an alleged reporter at CNN, and he's not, of course, a reporter. He is a party activist, 100%. Such a person at a town hall like that would naturally, after that response from Joe Biden, ask an obvious question, which is, Mr. President, the question that I actually asked you was about, 12-year-olds and the availability of vaccines for them and when they should get vaccinated and if they should get vaccinated. Are you okay? Because your answer is not understandable. A good reporter would start to really question his cognitive ability, the cognitive ability of the President of the United States for the benefit of the people of the United States. And CNN could care less. They could care less. It's just like, oh, I'm not going to pay attention to the fact that the man is losing his mind. I'm just going to, play along and try to protect him from what he just said, which was nothing.
Because CNN is just like the women's U.S. soccer team. They do not like our country, and they have lined up with the progressive Democrats for the last 2 decades, and they're going to do anything they can to prop him up. When he was speaking, though, I was thinking about, I don't know why, Billy Madison. Do you remember when Billy Madison?
Oh, yes.
He gets
Adam
tested,
Sandler.
and he says, he answers this long essay question, and the guy looks and goes, Mr. Madison, after that answer, everybody in this audience is now dumber, because that's how I feel about this. I'm like, I thought maybe you picked up. I was like, maybe Mark understands what he's saying. I don't know what he's saying. I'm going to look for words or terms. It had nothing to do with the question whatsoever. I don't even think it had anything to do with the sentence prior to it. It was like he was jumping all over the place.
He was. And by the way, with CNN, whenever you watch CNN, you automatically get dumber, especially Don Lemon. I mean, probably one of the dumbest men on television. You get the final thought on this.
I would never watch CNN is the final thought on that.
That's great.
And I think we do need to start to ask as Americans, because we are a representative government, what is going on with this man cognitively? Can he handle the job he has? And if he can't, who are we going to put it there? And can Kamala Harris do the job? Yeah. Because it's putting this whole country at peril and in danger. And it's a serious matter. And people have the right to know who's making the decisions, because eventually we can all pay for this.
Amen to that.